Hi, Aarav.
Hi, Trani, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great as well. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on here. And so I'm sure you've heard about Feedbuzz, and let us, just dive into it right away. And I'm
Yeah,
pretty
for
sure
sure.
I am actually very excited about all of this and to get to know
Me
more
too.
about your end. And it's fascinating to see at such a young age you have been achieving so many things, and it is really really tough to be doing so many things at this age. And I mean, we were very very naive at that point of time, and we were like watching some kind of cartoons or developing ourselves at that point of time. But you have achieved at this age at this great heights, and it's really commendable about you.
Thank you
And
so much.
let's start up. So I would like you to introduce yourself to the community or the viewers.
Sure. So, hello everybody. I'm Aarav Garg and I'm 16 years old and I'm an 11th grade student. And I'm the founder and CEO of a startup, a student-led startup called Nuttiez. So our startup basically it helps or we aim to educate the global youth on technology. So we have built a platform, we've built an app where students can come and learn about various concepts of technology, all the trending topics in science and tech, completely free of cost. And they can also, give in their work, their articles, their projects, and we can feature those in our magazine. We have a magazine, a digital magazine, which is again completely free of cost. So we can feature them there and they can get recognition for their work as well. So we're trying to build a community around technology where people are learning together and growing together.
So is this completely on any kind of technology, or is it specific to a certain domain?
So our focus is more towards robotics because that is a little less catered widely on the internet. So I myself, I've built a lot of robots. I've been doing that since I was 10 years old. So obviously there's a gradual incline towards robotics in our app and in all of what we do. Because robots are something that you build, right? So we have a lot of tutorials on teaching people how to build stuff, build real stuff. So obviously there's an incline towards robotics, but yeah, we're doing a lot of stuff, coding and then nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, and all of that as well.
Okay, so what was that thing that enlightened you to come into the stream of robotics, or what is that which inspired you to come into robotics, or who inspired you to do that?
So well, there was no particular person who did that. It's just that, when I was in my sixth grade, I was like 10 years old. So we were introduced to programming in school, and that was the very first time we were introduced to it. And it was very exciting that, for the first time we were learning about tech and all of that. And that, really made many people pumped up. But I was like, particularly way too excited when they did it. And it was a gradual, an instinctive incline towards it. Like I didn't have to force myself to get interested in tech. There was a, instinctive incline towards technology which, brought me into robotics and tech and all of that.
So, and this inclination led to these to the idea of building an app. So
Right.
before, is that right?
Yes, yes, it is. So the
So
idea of the app and of Technatees was like, so I was building robots, and my parents are not from a tech background, and even in school you can learn only so much, right? So what I did is I went, on the internet and just browsed a lot of stuff, and whole of my journey has been through self learning. So I've self learned all of it through the internet. So what I wanted to do is when I had gained a sufficient amount of knowledge in tech and in robotics, I wanted to give back to the community. So this is our way of actually giving back to the community, the tech self-learning community on the internet, and we're doing it free of cost so that it becomes accessible to everybody, anyone who wants to get started with robotics and technology can download our app completely free of cost on Android as well as iOS, and they can just get their journey started, right? So it makes it a little easy if all the resources are put together in one place. So this was the whole intention behind doing it.
Yeah, so absolutely, you're. I should just say that most of those people, me. In fact, me, I struggle a lot to search in that website, this website. If I want to just learn one Python language, if just for instance, I mean, I'll have to go for that website, this website, compile all of them together, and then study.
Exactly.
Obviously, it is kind of difficult, and self learning is not really easy. Like. It is portrayed, but I swear it is really commendable, and it is really inspiring that you've learned everything self on your own, and it's all come up at such a young age. And I am still not able to digest the fact that at such a young age, at 16 years old, you were able to put up a startup, and you're a founder of a startup, and all of that is self-made. So did you have anyone else along with you when you started on with this journey?
So you mean as a co-founder, as what, like exactly?
Not as in a co-founder. If there was a co-founder, yes, but if there is anyone who is helping you through it, or start where to start, how to start, and all of that.
So I don't have a co-founder in Technatees. We have a team of around 20 people now, all teenagers. Students ranging from high school to undergraduate students. So we are all a team of passionate people working into tech, trying to educate the youth globally on tech. And I had support from my parents completely. Though they are not from a tech background, they helped me in any way that they could. And yeah, the major help that I got was from the internet. It has been my best friend in the whole journey. Just whatever queries or doubts I had regarding anything in the whole process, I just googled it up or went on YouTube and just saw a quick video. So it's just that the resources are out there, but people do not know where they are. So what we're doing is we're bringing them all together on one platform to make it easy for them to get their journey started, right? So that's what we're doing.
Okay. So was there any particular idea that you have implemented before this took off?
So
I
in
mean,
terms of
in
a
an
startup,
entrepreneurial, yeah, in an
yeah.
entrepreneurial journey, obviously, there we see that a lot of people put up few ideas, and then they fail in that. Slowly they go for a different thing, and then they something hits off. So were there
Yeah.
any of that sort of journeys in your life?
Well, so in terms of startups and in terms of the entrepreneurial journey, this is my first startup. Like as I told you before this, I was an innovator, right? So I used to build stuff. I used to build robots. I used to, build projects, build DIY projects in technology. And then I used to, so many of my projects have been published in international magazines. So I used to innovate and build stuff. And also, meanwhile, I used to record the process of building that stuff and put it out on YouTube, and also, write step by step instructions and put out articles on various platforms. So I started this documentation journey in 2018 itself when I opened up my YouTube channel. It was called Tech Nutties only. Before the startup was incorporated with the same name in this year, and in the previous year, I mean 2021. But in 2018, I started it as a YouTube channel with the same name. So till so at that time, I started to just put out videos of building robots. The DIY tutorials of building robots and other projects. And then now, to grow the scale of it, I decided to actually do it as an organization, build an app. We launched a magazine which has the whole content in it. So it's like just curating a lot of content from many amazing minds at one place, and also
Yeah,
building a
so
community along with it.
yeah, so you're trying to basically build a community based on everyone who is interested in tech, and you want
Exactly.
to bring all of them together, and teach them,
Exactly.
and give something back that you have learned from the internet.
Exactly.
And that's really nice. So I'm pretty sure there were a lot of struggles that you faced while starting, while growing up, and I think it's almost a year now that you've started Technatees. So
So
what? Yeah, go ahead.
It's not been a year, to be honest. It's just been like 4 to 6 months since we actually did it as an organization, as a proper incorporated organization. And the app has just been out for around 3 to 4 weeks now. So before that, as I told you, it was just YouTube and just me
Yeah.
writing articles from the brand name of Technatees on various platforms.
Okay.
So for these struggles, it's obviously, the time management as you're a high schooler and managing a startup along with that. You need to manage your time, prioritize stuff, just do everything. You need to still do everything, right? So managing all of that
Absolutely.
was one challenge. And then obviously in tech, I didn't face any challenge. Like even if I did, there are obviously many challenges when you face in the process, like the small challenges, but then I just try to sort them out through the internet mostly, and they just got solved along the way. So the major challenge is obviously time management in whatever I do,
Fine.
whether I'm building something or if I'm running a startup, which I'm running right now. The challenge remains the same at this level because you're a high schooler, you're in 11th grade. I'm doing JE preparation also, so just managing all of that becomes a little challenging, but yeah, just trying to do it in the best way.
So yeah, how is exactly that, that you're managing all of this? Because it is being in an engineering college, and managing with placements, managing with our club activities, managing with our academics. It's absolutely terrifying, to be honest. So, and being in a high schooler, I'm pretty sure it's obviously tough. And when you say you're preparing for JE mains, that is an added stress to you. So how do you manage it? Like, what is the thing that you bifurcate and prioritize on?
Well, it's like I try to, just divide the time in proper intervals for all of the stuff that I need to do. And I use a lot of to-do lists for, planning out my tasks. I use a lot of calendar apps, to-do lists, and stuff like that to just keep everything organized. Because if I try to remember all of that, I'll not be able to do anything, right? So it's always better
Yes.
to jot all of it down so that you can get it off your mind. Like you will be reminded at the interval when you need to do something. So these apps are really useful. I use a lot of them. And then yeah, just cut down a little on your entertainment, obviously, because the time is less. So you need to maximize the potential that you have in that particular time. So it's just that, like, I try to not waste any of the time that I have, so that at any point of time, even if I'm trying to relax, I try to do it in a little productive way, so that it helps me boost myself for the next task, right? So yeah, this is what I try to do.
So before getting into all of this, when you were actually just innovating, in the stage of innovator, were there any other interest other than robotics that you were into, like, music or dance or sports or any of that sorts? Were you into
I
any of
mean,
these?
so I didn't do anything like professionally or as a proper thing. But then yeah, I mean we used to play football a lot. Till like 1 year back, we used to play a lot of football. I guess I wasn't into arts like music or dance or anything like that. Yeah, just I used to just play sports just with your neighborhood friends and all of that. And in school, obviously, stuff like that.
And that is, I'm pretty sure that gives you an energy, and that's
Yeah, for
really
sure.
nice. So how do you think, I'm sorry, what do I've come across your articles, and I've read your articles, your LinkedIn profile, and I see that, you've been teaching in organization, schools, and colleges. So, what exactly do you teach them, and what is the way that you approach those schools?
Well,
And
so I've taught in two to three. I've taught in two schools till now, robotics. So I did that for around 2 years. When I was in eighth grade and ninth grade, for those 2 years, I did that. So those both were completely charitable organizations. Like the schools were, charitable. So I too taught robotics there as an act of social service. So these students were a little underprivileged. So I taught them robotics, and like through the course of the year, they were able to build their own line follower robots. So this is what I did. Like I framed a mini course for them, wherein I would go over the basics of Arduino, which is something that's used to build robots, and then slowly advancing and building one robot. Like I divided them into groups and stuff like that. So that was really fun. It was a great experience, teaching people, seeing them build robots, which they do not know anything about, right? Seeing them do that on the basis of your teaching, that was a really good experience. Then I've also given talks in engineering colleges, like taken mini workshops there on particular topics, like building robots, the basics of building robots, stuff like that. And then I've also given talks at various places. I've given 2 TEDx talks. So those have been on tech, innovation, entrepreneurship, and self-learning.
Okay, and so when you said the mini course, that brought me to the question of, if anyone wants to go into the field of robotics, so what do you think is the roadmap for them to get actually be a robotic engineer, if I'm not wrong?
Right. So, it's like, they need to first obviously know CS in the basics of computer science. Uh, they need to have an inclination towards tech, obviously, and then know about the basics of mechanics and the basics of computer science. Robotics is just clubbing hardware and software to build stuff that works, right? So,
Yes.
yeah, it's just that. Obviously, I can't give the complete details right now, but yeah, overall, it's just that robotics is clubbing hardware and software, so they need to be proficient in both of these things and know how to
So
club these things.
yeah, so you've all learned Excel on your own and from the internet. So are
Yes.
there any sources that you think you can give the viewers where they can learn from other than Tech Nutties? Obviously, I'm pretty sure all of those people watching here would be interested by now and would have ran and downloaded the app. So uh, and yeah, all of you please do download the app and do check out if you're interested in robotics. So, what do you think is the sources that are available on the internet other than Tech Nutties on YouTube?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, YouTube itself is a very, very big source. Like, because, obviously video tutorials are way better than written tutorials because they, make it very easy for you. So obviously for video tutorials, I would say YouTube because it's free as well. So if you're fine with, free content, and if you're not willing to pay for content, at least at the initial stages, when you're just starting out, YouTube is a great source because it's completely free of cost. You get video tutorials, and many channels provide very, very high quality content for free of cost, right? So even we had one video which crossed 100K views on YouTube. So it was on building robot itself. It was free of cost, and it had a decent quality, right? So on YouTube you get some good quality content. And apart from that, obviously there are websites like Udemy, Coursera, where you get paid courses. Those are good as well, but I would suggest that when you're just starting out, it's always better to try out stuff on YouTube or other free platforms. Like you have Instructables, Hackster, where you have project tutorials in a written format, right? So these are also completely free of cost. So I would suggest going for free sources when you're just starting out, so that you can experiment with a lot of stuff and not commit to one particular course. And then as you grow, as you develop your interest in key particular areas like robotics or AI or ML, for example, you can take those particular courses from the paid platforms that exist on the internet, right? So this is my outlook on the sources.
So you've mentioned there are a few YouTube channels or videos that teach you all of this. So do you remember being particularly focused on any YouTuber or uh, you know, any video channels that specifically caught your attention?
Well, so I wouldn't mention any particular channel here. Like, I just always browse for problems, right? So when I have a particular problem, when I'm stuck at a phase, something like that, I just browse for that, and whichever video is giving me the best solution for that at that moment, that is the best channel for me. So there's no particular channel as such, but I just, I use YouTube in a way when I'm browsing something, right? So how to solve this particular error, how to solve that. I even Google in that way. So whichever article or whichever video is, helping you at that moment is obviously the best at that point. So I don't stick to any particular channels for that.
So what do you think, is the future of robotics? Like right now, the trend is going on with AI, machine learning, and data science and all. And we rarely get to hear robotics anywhere. It was in a boom a few years ago. Right now, I don't think that is. So what do you think is the future of robotics, according to you?
Right. So, well, that's correct. So, what's happening is people are, using AI and ML a lot these days. But when you come down to the core of it, AI is artificial intelligence, right? Now, robots are using AI. Like, it's not a completely different field in itself. AI, machine learning, and robotics are very much interlinked together. So there are robots like Sophia, for example, which are using very, very heavy artificial intelligence, machine learning, and neural networks, right? All of these concepts are being used in Sophia, which is a robot. So it's like these concepts are just the next wave of robotics itself. So they're being used in robots, whether that be physical robots or chatbots. So chatbots use AI, right? Now,
Yes.
technically, chatbots are also robots. They're digital robots, but then they're using AI. So it's like AI generally is actually, part of robot itself, even machine learning, right? So machine learning is a field where a machine learns something from its experience,
Yes.
and that
Yes.
machine there is itself the robot, right? So technically, AI and ML, all these new age terms, are still a part of robotics because robots itself are powering these technologies, because a robot is something that does something on its own. Now AI and ML are ways by which it does something on its own. So this is what the outlook is. So robotics as a term is not being used, but the from the career perspective or from people working in robotics, it's pretty much the same, because people working in AI and ML are still the people who are in the robotic ecosystem. So it doesn't change much.
So, from what you've told right now, that something which I have got in is like AI ML is something that is already there as a part of robotics. And, this is using this, people are actually trying to get the cores of robotics and then slowly trying to develop into the complete field.
Yeah, right. So AI and ML are, completely linked with robotics. Like robots are now functioning on AI. So
Yes, yes.
it's like computers are robots there, and they're functioning on, particular technologies like Windows, for example. So it's something like that in a very simple sense. But yeah, it's just that the term robotics is obviously declined in the usage because AI and ML look very fancy and cool just for that reason. But obviously they're very much interlinked together.
Yeah. So, what do you think is the scope for anyone who's going to enter into robotics, or how wide is the scope? So, right now, when you say you're a machine learning engineer, they say the scope is really high because every recruiter wants a machine learning engineer or they wanted a AI scientist. So, how do you think is the scope of robotics? I mean, with what you've told, I can get it that there is a lot of scope in the future, but how wide is it?
So it's quite wide. Like, there are obviously a lot of robots slowly coming up, especially in the industrial space. So you have this company called Boston Dynamics, right? They make walking robots. They make walking robot dogs, as well as humanoid robots. So these robots are slowly getting a very wide acceptance in the industrial world. So they're being used in industries for for a lot of stuff, like transporting stuff from one place to another. So there's a lot of stuff, like even you have warehouse robots. in the warehouses of big companies like Amazon and Alibaba, for example. So they have robots which, completely, so their warehouses are having very less workforce, especially outside India. They have complete robotic warehouses. So obviously these robots, as the industry is growing, as other things are growing, robotics is coming into a lot of stuff. And the robotic engineers are the people who are building these robots, right? So obviously as the industry is growing, the market size of the industry itself is growing, so the demand for the people in that will also eventually grow. There's no doubt to that.
Yeah, so just before going on to the next question, I just asked the users, viewers to drop their queries down in the comments section so that we can take a few of them at the end of the session.
Sure.
So yeah, driving into the next question, Arav. What was the achievement that was? So I came across your LinkedIn and I see a lot of pictures with Mr. KTR sir. And what was that achievement which was recognized by him, and what was your experience out of it?
Well, so I just, mailed him that I wanted to meet him and showcase my app, talk to him about it, just getting advice as well as showcasing our product and how it is helping the youth, completely free of cost, obviously. So for the same thing, and then I got a response, very fortunately, and I was called to, I was called to meet him for that, and then we showcased our app, our product. I was He appreciated us a lot, and also gave a lot of advice. So it was a great experience overall. Felt really good.
Yeah, that it's I mean, obviously anyone would be honored to be a part of that experience, and hope we see ourselves in that places when we go ahead and do something in the future. And I'm pretty sure that is, at least if not with KTR sir or the next future leaders who inspire us. So another thing was, what is the experience is that you have been through, and what is out of your experiences, what is the message that you want to give the Gen Z, your generation, our generation, or the learning generation right now? So what are your messages that you want to pass on to those generations?
So I always give one suggestion and one advice to everybody watching this. Obviously, the people of our age. So that is that, obviously everybody is seeing it now, and so we're not. We are out of the age where people at our ages just studied and just, were into academics. So now it is an era where there are abundant resources out there for you to get advice from, for you to learn from. So what matters is your interest and your passion in something. So if you have a passion in anything, whatever that is, you should pursue that. It's not that you should leave academics, just do that, but you should obviously do that alongside. There is enough time. It's not like you will not have time. Even if you chip in a little amount of time, just dedicate yourself to that and start following your passion right from whatever age you find your passion, right? So it's like whether you're in 12, don't feel that, you'll start doing it after your graduation or after completing your studies, because we were not left in an era where that happened. So right now, there are just abundant resources. There's a lot of mentorship flowing through the internet. There's a lot of stuff happening. Just get out there, explore the world, find your passion, and once you do that, just immediately dive into it. Don't wait for anything, right? So this is the major thing that I would like to say to people of our age. Yeah, and that's it. Once you get started, you'll eventually find your way. So just get started.
Absolutely, absolutely. I completely agree because, these days, kids, or let's say ourselves, we tend to, relax a lot and, try to be very, I don't mean the entire population, but then there are a few people, or, few ones out there. And it's really, inspiring to see people like you come up. And sometimes when we are demotivated or when we have no inspiration to do something, and we see people like you and achieving so much at such a young age, we're like, what are we doing? We are already past 20, and what are we doing? So I'm pretty sure that is going to be a huge motivation and an inspiration to a lot of people right here. So, is there anything else that you would like to say or you would like to convey which I have not brought up in any point of time here?
So according to me, yes, this was it. It was a great conversation, obviously. So the thing that I just told, the passion thing, that's my main advice to all the teenagers and the Gen Z out there. To so we people are spending a lot of time on social media, right? So obviously you can spend time for entertainment as well, but there should be a limit to it. You can also use social media and the internet, YouTube for productivity. You can watch a lot of informative content as well. So instead of just wasting your time, you can obviously waste some time. You can't be a robot and just be productive all the time. But then you need to keep limits for everything, right? Even if you're just entertaining, set a limit for that. So and after that, you just get back to your productivity and all of that. So this is my advice to all the Gen Z, and I guess we covered everything. It was a really good conversation for sure.
And I swear I've had a great time talking to you, and I've learned a lot from
Likewise.
you. And yeah.
Yeah, me as well, right?
Yeah, so I have learned a lot from you, absolutely. And I think I'm going to implement a few of those. I mean, I can't implement all of those at this point of time. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to implement a few of those in my life as well. So let me just check out if we have any more queries from the audience. If anyone
Sure.
in the viewers are having any questions, please do drop down. Check out if we have any more queries from the. Okay, I don't see any queries that have come up before, and I'm pretty sure you've everything briefed up every single thing in a very detailed manner, and they don't have any doubts. So before concluding, I would just like to tell the viewers a little about Feedbuzz. Feedbuzz is a student community, and we help people to any student like Tech Nutties, not only in technology but also in any other field, anything that a student is interested in. So before, if anyone wants to uh, show up whatever their skills are and whatever they are interested in, so do follow Feedbuzz and do contact us, and please come in touch. Let's be a part of the student community. And Arav, it was a really, really, really great time talking to you, and it's a pleasure to have you here on board with us.
Thank you
And
so much for having me. Great time.
yes, thank you so much, Arav. So we'll take a leave here, and it was really great talking to you once again. Thank you.